Topping today's news, a child, the latest victim in the latest senseless murder here in the capital. Despite the global warning, no reported cases of monkeypox here in the country. Free Wi-Fi at community parks beginning in August, and Grand Bahama residents complain about the conditions at the Rand Memorial Hospital. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jurino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thanks for joining us. A child is dead and a family left mourning this after he was shot, caught in a crossfire shortly before 10 p.m. Tuesday. The 4-year-old, who has been identified as Kenton Seymour Jr., was with his parents on West and Fleming Street when two males, both whom were armed with handguns, ran past a vehicle the family was in, firing gunshots at another male, while as a result, young Kenton was subsequently shot.
The young child was in the front seat with his mom in her lap. Eventually, they drove to the hospital where the body was examined by a doctor and was pronounced deceased. Investigation has commenced. We are following some significant leads, and I'm not just saying that out of the cuff. I have spoken with the investigators. We met a short time ago before coming over, and I was briefed on the matter by the investigators. We have the individual in custody who was being chased by the two young men.
Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez, in briefing reporters, say the person, reportedly the older brother of the young victim, is assisting police with their investigation.
We feel comfortable where we are at this time with the investigation, and we have an entire team from Criminal Investigation Department, also from CSI. We have officers who will be on the ground, going door to door. We are looking for footage. We have traced the area where the culprits came from and where they was chasing the individual. So hopefully that we will be able to collect some evidence to connect the dots and cross the T's with that investigation. It is so sad to see that these incidents continue to happen right within our community. And if you're familiar with that general area, it's a well-tight community, and a number of houses are pretty much side by side, and a number of kids move about in that area. But I can say that we are pleased as to where we are with respect to that investigation.
Now, prior to that unfortunate event, police were aggressively investigating a shooting that claimed the life of a 47-year-old male of Hospital Lane, reportedly out on bail, who was shot multiple times about the body shortly after 4 p.m. in the West Street area, according to Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez.
Adult male who lives just down the street from there, our intel is saying to us that he got a call from some unknown person. After he got that call, he walked north on West Street, just in the area of South and West Street, that junction right there next to abandoned gas station, former gas station that was there at that junction. A white small vehicle pulled from a yard just in that area, pulled from a yard. Two men was in that vehicle, and they fired shots at that individual where he was shot multiple times about the body. The vehicle sped off. He was later rushed to hospital in a private vehicle where he later died.
Now, a third incident of gun violence transpired, the commissioner telling reporters that this matter happened on Dennis Court, Yellow Elder Gardens, around 8 p.m. Police were called to the scene of an altercation involving an 18-year-old and a 29-year-old who got into an altercation at a residence. Both produced handguns and opened fire on each other. The men are currently being treated at the Princess Margaret Hospital, where they are listed in serious condition. Meanwhile, with the recent uptick in violent crimes, including gun violence, Commissioner Fernando is taking a strong stance against such criminal activities. He says that police are prepared to take on these criminals head on. He says, quote, "No more, we have to take the fight to them," end quote.
We will do just that to disrupt what is going on within our communities with respect to the gangs. We will take the fight to them. We will not, if we don't, we will continue to move from one scene to the next. And I believe it's high time now that we do just that to disrupt what is going on within our communities. So we are asking and appealing to members of the public to please assist your Royal Bahamas Police Force as we continue to make safer communities.
Police are appealing to members of the public who may have any information that can assist with their investigations into these incidents or any criminal matter to contact the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991 or 2 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS, that's 328-8477, or the nearest police station. In the wake of the senseless killing of 4-year-old Kenton Seymour Jr., Prime Minister Philip Davis is pleading with Bahamians to end the violence as he offered his condolences to the families of those murdered last night. In the space of 6 hours on Tuesday, police were called to 3 separate shootings, another one of them also leaving a 47-year-old man of Hospital Lane dead. The Prime Minister noting that efforts of police to disrupt criminal activity is being met with some backlash.
My heart goes out to the family of those victims yesterday, particularly the 4-year-old. The heinousness of the acts that's being committed on our streets just has to stop. I plead to our people, we are killing one another. There's no need for us to turn on one another. Whatever the issues, we need to be able to work them out.
While many have called for stiffer penalties for those convicted of various criminal matters, including murder, is stiffer penalties really the answer? Here's what Prime Minister Davis has to say on that.
I intend to get a full briefing in short order in these matters. And again, the police have been very much engaged on the weekends with an attempt of disrupting behavior such as these. They have had some blowback from the public because of what they claim to be incursion on privacy, etc. But the police and I will be speaking, and I'll get a fuller briefing on exactly the details of these matters, speak more specifically to it. We appreciate the state of our country. We are doing our best to alleviate all the suffering and pain. There's hope and there's relief out there. Just be patient and let us deal with the issues that concern you most. Call and speak to someone if there's challenges. Those who know something, say something so that we can be able to avert what's happening today.
Prime Minister Davis contends that to get the answer, we as a country must get to the root cause of the problems, which he says starts from the home and the environment that one is in. He further contends that there must be an understanding to what is happening in the community and interactions with one another. He says the government intends to take a holistic approach to dealing with the issues.
Stiff penalties has its place. But we have to also understand this is about, there are stiff penalties on the books now. Every administration has sought to resolve crime by increasing penalties, right? And they've been doing it. If you just check the historical evolution of sentencing in the Bahamas and legislative approach to it, it's always stiff crimes, stiff penalties. But has it worked? Things are getting worse. So is stiff penalties the answer? It may be an element of the response, but it's not the answer.
Meanwhile, Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright is calling for the record pace of killings to be addressed following Tuesday night's spat of shootings. In a statement, the FNM deputy leader says the shooting death of the 4-year-old boy should cause an uproar in every Bahamian soul. While offering condolences to the families of the victims, Mr. Cartwright notes that tragically, this is not the first time that a child has been killed by gun violence this year, as just last month, on Labor Day, 13-year-old Quinton McKinsey was killed in the Camp Road area. The St. Barnabas Member of Parliament lamenting that these stories often prompt national outrage for a time, but once the headlines disappear, the urgency of the matter seems to as well. Mr. Cartwright said, as recently as earlier this month, the FNM has called on the government to reveal its plans to address the uptick in crime. The FNM deputy leader says the opposition will continue to call for this record pace of killings to be addressed as the national emergency as it is, noting that they would like to assist the Commissioner of Police, who has announced his intended plan of action in brief detail. The Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Dowell, confirming reports that the monkeypox virus is showing to be high risk to homosexual community or the homosexual community. However, explained that the public health issue is dealing with anybody, any person who may have come into contact with an individual who may be exposed or pose high risk for carrying the monkeypox virus. Dr. Dowell says his ministry is well prepared in the event of a virus outbreak, which was recently declared by the World Health Organization as a public health emergency of international concern. Minister Dowell says his ministry is working closely with the Pan American Health Organization, devising the necessary strategy in combating and monitoring monkeypox, such as training the country's national reference lab, with the minister revealing they are now able to test for monkeypox in country, which he says is a great accomplishment. As it relates to monkeypox vaccines, Minister Dowell reveals they will not be distributed as COVID vaccines were distributed. According to the health minister, as it stands, there are currently no suspected cases of monkeypox in the country, adding that there has only been one confirmed case of monkeypox having been in the country since the outbreak. He also revealed there have also been no further cases of malaria, with the single case reported last week to be resolved with all contacts investigated and proved negative for the disease. Grand Bahamians calling on the Minister of Health to assist with the state of the Rand Memorial Hospital located in Grand Bahama. Residents gathered in the parking lot of the hospital on Monday to host a press conference led by activist Danielle Mitchell. They shared their experiences with the hospital services, crying out for proper health care, more doctors and healthcare professionals, and an updated healthcare system.
We are asking for a proper waiting area. We are asking for more doctors. We are asking for more tools and equipment and scan tools here at the Rand Memorial Hospital. And we want doctors that make sense, doctors that are educated in this field and knows what to do. Because I heard that we have a lot of trainees in here and they are giving persons the wrong medication. And we even heard persons who got the wrong medication, they even passed. Yes. All right, God forbid that happens to anybody family. They wouldn't want that to happen. So we want proper healthcare system that works for all Bahamians.
Mr. Mitchell says for far too long the hospital has been operating at 50%, calling on the Health and Wellness Minister to rectify the imbalance. A concerned citizen, Joy Wilchcombe, also criticizing the hospital's operations in her plea to Dr. Dowell.
The hospital over here was left poor and it continued being poor. Bad service, very bad service, Dr. Dowell. You said you want to take on the post of Minister of Health. Come on, get it right. People are dying here. People are still sitting down outside in the rain out here. People are still taking oxygen out here. People are still getting served out here, out in the open. Dr. Dowell, if you don't want the job, give it up.
Also participating in the outcry was Annetta Johnson, an activist that says while they may look small in numbers, there are more Bahamians standing with them as they relay stories to them and ask them to be their voice in the midst of it all. She says they came out to voice their concerns and complaints because the facility does not represent the money that taxpayers are giving. From the official opposition, former Foreign Affairs Minister and Free National Movement Senator Darren Henfield says that illegal Haitian migration has been a long-standing issue for the Bahamas and agrees with Prime Minister Philip Davis' recent stance that the Bahamas is in no condition to absorb greater numbers of migrants. Senator Henfield adding that the international community should do more in ameliorating the circumstances that cause such senseless deaths.
Bahamas does not have the capacity on its own to take and house untold numbers of migrants from Haiti or anywhere else. And we do not have the capacity on our own to continue to deal with the influx of migrants. Home then becomes the responsibility of our country to house and to feed and to look after socially and the rest of it. And any Bahamian who's right-thinking should encourage those who think about these ill-fated trips to not do it, because they often too much end in absolute tragedy.
As there is civil unrest along with high gang violence and great poverty in Haiti, Senator Henfield, who was addressing colleagues in the Senate on Monday, suggests until a way to resolve this crisis is found, there will always be the issue of illegal immigration.
Haiti is what you might characterize as a failed state. Gangs rule the day. It's unsafe. It is the most impoverished country in our region, in the Western Hemisphere. And people will continue to leave Haiti to find a better way of life unless we can give them reasons as neighbors in the international community to stay. There's no reason why Haitian migrants can't come to the Bahamas through a regularized fashion, by a regular work permit, stay for a period of time, and then go home and give others the opportunity to do so. But before we can make any real strategic effort or step to correct the issues that trouble Haiti, we have to emphatically come to the place where we determine by strategy that these are the steps that we're going to take.
Prime Minister Davis this past Sunday revealed that he, along with the Prime Ministers of Jamaica and Barbados, have been appointed by CARICOM as a committee to look into how the Caribbean region could help to resolve the issues in Haiti. The PM says it's always been CARICOM's position that the solution has to be a Haitian solution rather than an imposed solution. And according to Kwesi Thompson, the FNM Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama and Shadow Minister of Finance, the opposition is concerned that the government has yet to announce the dates for the VAT holidays for back to school or for supplies for hurricane preparedness. He said in a statement that the VAT holidays started by the previous FNM administration provides for several weeks of VAT-free local shopping for specific goods. Since introduced, the public has had 2 VAT-free back-to-school initiatives and 1 VAT-free hurricane supplies initiative. Mr. Thompson wanted to remind the government that these VAT-free holidays have generated millions of dollars in savings to thousands of Bahamian households and is calling on the government to immediately provide the public with the timelines for these critical initiatives, which he says are even more important now given the impact of recent significant price inflation. And on another matter, in a separate statement, Mr. Thompson said the opposition notes the report in a local daily on Tuesday, which alleges the government has engaged Rothschild and Company to provide advisory services on its debt portfolio. Mr. Thompson said, given all the possible implications on the country's credit risk file, the government must confirm if it has engaged the services of this company, and if so, provide the public with its terms of engagement. We'll take a break here, and we'll be right back after these commercials.